to stop. So you have a framing pulse, which is a start pulse. Then there is a stop pulse. In between, we have a coded reply, and which is given by A, B, C, and D, each having 3 bits. And this 3-bit system is called octal system. So 3 bits means it can represent 2 power 3, that is 8 values. So this is how the reply comes from the aircraft. There is another special position identification, or it's called SPI pulse. This is to uh, help the air traffic controller to identify aircrafts properly. So in case he is having a doubt about any of the aircraft, on the RT, that is on the radio, the controller will request the pilot to press the button. This SPI button is in the cockpit. So whenever he presses it, the controller will get an indication telling that it's that particular aircraft. So it's a communication, direct communication between the pilot and the radar controller. So this is how it looks like. Okay. So don't think that pulse means it's a digital thing which is going back, but actually it's a RF burst, okay, of I think it's 1090 or something is a reply. 1090 megahertz, 1090 or 1030 something. So everything is a RF burst, okay, but spaced properly at 1.45 microseconds. Uh, so you have 4 3-pulse group, that's what it says, and you can transmit also some important messages like Mayday, hijack, and all those stuff. The SSR also has problems. First one is called garbling. Let us say the ground-based SSR is sending this interrogation pulse, and it is received by aircraft A. Um, Now aircraft A will start replying, and let's assume that another aircraft B is also flying very close by. That would have also received this particular interrogation pulse. That is a violet one. Okay. From A, you get the red pulse, which is the reply from A. The blue pulses are from aircraft B. But what comes to the ground-based SSR is an interleaved pulses. So this is going to create a lot of problems. Okay. So uh, it's not desirable that whenever interrogation is happening between ground and aircraft, one particular aircraft, the other aircraft should not reply. So, but earlier generation uh, SSRs had this problem of garbling. The second problem is called fruiting. Fruiting is false replies, unsynchronized in time. Okay. So what's going to happen is, again, you send the interrogation to this aircraft. It starts replying back. Meanwhile, another SSR starts interrogating the aircraft, and this is omnidirectional pulse, right? So this pulse also reply is also received from the same aircraft. But if you look at the time difference, they are unsynchronized. Okay, they're not synchronized in time. So again, there is going to be a lot of problems. So on the scope, what you see is something like this. Okay, multiple echoes. So garbling and fruiting were serious problems with SSRs. The previous one can be eliminated by having geographically well dispersed SSR stations, so that chances of this sort of confusion is less. But again, you lose coverage. Okay. So what I mean is, suppose this is the Indian Peninsula, have SSRs operating in non-overlapping regions. But then there will be some voids in which you might lose the aircraft. So initially that's how they were trying to overcome the problem. To get over this problem, the most advanced SSR was called the Mode S, or it is called the selective call uh, SSR. So in this there is a slight difference is there. Every aircraft flying nowadays has a 24-bit aircraft address. It's similar to your number plate, okay, in the car. Uh, Nowadays you have this RFID, right? It stores the car registration number and other details. Similarly, the aircraft also has a 24-bit address. Every aircraft will have this unique address. Uh, Now this SSR will start interrogating particular aircraft only, and not all aircrafts. You'll see how it is done. Okay, and the reply is quite exhaustive. Uh, Earlier, the situational awareness was only in the azimuth plane. So if this is a radar and you find aircrafts like this, so in the azimuth plane you can find out where the aircrafts are. But whereas in this mode S, uh, continuously you get information on uh, altitude, speed and heading. So you get heading information, speed, and what flight level. Flight level is the altitude, in addition to the aircraft call sign. So you get quite amount of information from each reply. Now, how this problem of fruiting and garbling is solved is using this method. Like the aircraft code, the interrogator also has a 4-bit code. This one was a aircraft is 24-bit code, uh, whereas this one is a 4-bit code. I think now it's getting extended. It's a 4-bit code. So uh, now there are two distinct ways in which the complete surveillance takes place. First one is called all call. All call is just a broadcast. The ground sensor just transmits the all call, and any aircraft in the coverage area will start replying to this particular ground sensor. Here you're not you're not displaying anything. You're just calling them, and then this fellow will start giving out its unique address. The aircraft will start giving its unique address. So you store all the data in a memory location for that particular time instant. So you have aircraft 1, 2, so n aircrafts with their codes. Now, after you do the all call broadcast, then you do selective call. Selective call is like, suppose I call up the attendance, okay, in the class. It's like a roll call. Now, what you do, one aircraft after another, you send a selective call, and once the selective call is received, only that is displayed. So the question of more than one aircraft replying to a particular interrogation doesn't take place. So there's no garbling. So only aircraft whose uh, identity number is being called out, or let's say it's the roll number which is being called out, only that aircraft will reply. Others will remain silent, though they are receiving the interrogation pulse. Similarly, uh, once this identifier code is known to the aircraft and it is replying to a particular to that identifier. In case some spurious transmission comes from some similar location, but and assuming that its the identifier code also is same, then it will not reply because it is already logged out. So it's something like the ground sensor locks out aircrafts periodically. But during the time, if the aircraft is getting some other identifier code, then it can reply, but not to the same identifier code. That is slightly vague. That explanation is slightly vague, but that's what is available on the in the literature. But assuming that there is no other radar stations, then it is like, and there are thousands of aircraft, so there will be thousand such selective calls, and the display will be made sequentially. So just to summarize, this mode sensor has two methods: all call, then selective call. Any mode transponder that is not logged out will reply to an all call integration, transmitting its unique 24-bit aircraft address. So in this way, the interrogator will acquire targets not previously detected. Once a transponder is known to the interrogator and its track has been established, it can be logged out. This prevents the transponder from replying to any more all-call interrogations, and it will just reply to respond to only selective interrogations. So that's how the mode S format came into being. So it's, if you really look at it, it's just it's sort of a digital communication between the ground sensor and the aircraft transponder. Okay, so that with this we end the SSR part of it. Anything you people want to ask me on SSR? So for your periodical 2, next class onwards, I'll be taking TCAS. TCAS, and then probably we can finish with data bus also. So complete module 2 will be there for your second periodicals. And I'll try to share some information on SSR also. I think I not uploaded these slides on your AUMS. That I'll do it today. Okay, like last time we had some self-study on that AMCA. So really, Sanjay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you give a presentation on MODES?
Okay, sir.
MODES SSR. Okay. You have to study a little bit on the for the literature. It's not
Okay.
that easily available. Okay. So all students will get a chance for presenting at least one topic. Okay. That's my intention. So just want you people to do some self-study also. And you can always take help from your classmates. Okay, Sanjay. So next class, maybe around 10 minutes, you can talk about MODES. Then I'll switch over to TCAS.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Anything else people want to ask me on SSR? So if nothing is there, we'll meet on Monday. We'll start with Sanjay's presentation on MODES. Okay, Swarup and Sanjay, thanks. We'll meet in the next class.